The hospital corridor was wrapped in silence, broken only by the faint, rhythmic beeping of machines. Each sound carried weight, as if it were counting down not just the seconds, but the fragile hold a man had on his life. The fluorescent lights hummed faintly overhead, casting a cold glow on the sterile floors. In the stillness, time seemed suspended, and every breath in the room carried an unspoken question. Will he survive the night? On the bed lay Michael, his frame thin, his skin pale. The marks of a life battered by hardship etched into every line of his face. He looked like a man worn down not just by illness, but by years of quiet battles no one had seen. His chest rose and fell weakly beneath the hospital gown, each breath more fragile than the last, as though even life itself hesitated at the threshold of letting him go. At his side lay Rex, a German shepherd with eyes that never wavered from his master. The dog's head rested gently on Michael's unmoving hand, as though holding it in place, refusing to let go. Nurses had tried to coax him away, to guide him out of the sterile room, but Rex would not budge. His loyalty was immovable, carved deeper than instinct. He did not know the medical charts or the grim statistics. He only knew Michael, and that was enough. Beyond the door, hushed voices drifted through the corridor. "That dog hasn't moved all night," one nurse murmured. "It's uncanny," another whispered back, "as if he knows something we don't." Their words carried both awe and unease, for loyalty that pure seemed almost otherworldly, as if Rex had anchored himself to something beyond human understanding. Inside the room, the air felt heavier, charged with something unspoken. Rex's quiet vigil was not desperation, but conviction, a silent promise carved into the night. His presence whispered what no words could, that he would not leave Michael's side, no matter the outcome. In his stillness, there was a defiance against fate itself. The nurses asked the question aloud, glancing at the fragile figure on the bed. Would he ever open his eyes again? Yet Rex seemed to answer without words, his steady gaze fixed on the man he loved. To him, there was no if. There was only when. Years earlier, before the sterile hospital walls and machines, Michael walked through the city streets alone. The night pressed down on him with relentless rain, drenching his coat until it clung like a heavy burden. His footsteps echoed hollow against the pavement, each one dragging with the weight of loss and loneliness. Grief had carved deep lines into his face, and though his body moved forward, his spirit lagged behind, bound to memories he could not escape. The rain did not cleanse him. It only reminded him how empty he had become. Then, cutting through the downpour, came a sound that did not belong to the storm. A faint whimper, so fragile it nearly drowned beneath the rain, tugged at his attention. Michael stopped, heart quickening against his will. He turned toward a darkened alley, its shadows swallowing the flickering glow of a distant street lamp. The sound came again soft, desperate, aching. Against every instinct that told him to keep walking, his tired eyes searched the darkness. Someone was waiting there, unseen but pleading. In the alley, Michael found the source. A German shepherd, tethered cruelly to a rusted fence, its fur matted by rain and shivering under the cold. Its eyes met his, wide and uncertain, carrying equal parts fear and hope. The animal's ribs pressed against its skin with each shallow breath, as though survival itself was a battle it had nearly lost. Michael stood frozen, breath caught in his throat. Those eyes pierced through his armor of grief, silently asking for what no one else had dared give him, a chance. Michael's first thought was retreat. He had no space in his broken life for another burden. His chest tightened as he whispered to himself, "I can't even save me. How could I save you?" He turned, almost ready to walk away, but his feet betrayed him. The dog gave a soft, strangled whine, and Michael's heart clenched as if pulled by invisible chains. His exhaustion told him to keep going, but something in that silent plea rooted him in place, refusing to let him abandon the creature. He stepped forward, kneeling in the mud-slick ground, his hand trembling as it reached out. The dog growled, low and cautious, its fear warning him away. Michael did not flinch. Instead, his voice softened, breaking through the rain. "It's all right. I won't hurt you." Not like they did. The growl wavered, then stilled. Slowly, Michael's fingers worked at the soaked rope binding the shepherd to the fence. Each knot undone felt like a wound being healed, a shackle lifted from them both. Finally, the rope fell free, and in the storm's fury, Michael whispered words meant for them both. "You're free now." The dog did not run. Instead, it lingered by his side, trembling yet unwilling to leave the stranger who had offered kindness. Michael rose to his feet, gripping the broken leash in one hand, uncertainty heavy in his chest. The rain poured, harder, soaking them both, but something shifted in that fragile moment to souls, lost and weary, had found each other. As Michael led the shepherd out of the alley, he had no way of knowing that this chance encounter would become the bond that would one day hold him to life itself. The house felt colder than the winter outside. Michael pushed the door shut, water dripping from his coat, and turned to see Rex lingering by the threshold. The dog's paws barely touched the wooden floor, as if he feared every sound might summon punishment. The silence pressed heavily, making Michael wonder if he had made a mistake bringing him here. He had barely managed his own grief, and now he was responsible for a wounded creature who didn't even trust him enough to take a single step forward. Yet in Rex's trembling form, Michael recognized something painfully familiar. The weight of surviving without knowing why. It didn't happen overnight. At first, Rex kept his distance, lying in the corner like a shadow, eyes following Michael's every move. But small shifts appeared. One evening, while Michael sat slumped in his chair, staring at nothing, a gentle nudge pressed against his hand. Rex's nose lingered there, trembling, uncertain. Michael froze, then slowly curled his fingers against the dog's head. The touch was brief, but it cracked something open between them. From then on, Rex began inching closer, sitting near the couch instead of the corner, watching the front door as though guarding Michael, and lowering his head when Michael whispered, "It's all right, you're safe now." Days settled into patterns, fragile yet grounding. Every morning, Michael laced his boots, and Rex followed, tail uncertain but moving. Their walks became more than exercise. They became silent confessions. Michael's grief loosened with every step, while Rex learned the world wasn't always cruel. At dinner, Michael set aside scraps of chicken or beef, placing them in Rex's bowl with a muttering, "You earned this today." At night, the dog waited faithfully by the door until Michael returned from his late shifts, tail thumping softly when he appeared. What had once been a house of silence began to hum again with footsteps, breathing, and a presence that asked for nothing except to stay. But shadows lingered. A slammed door from a neighbor upstairs, raised voices echoing in the hallway, even the clatter of dropped keys. Each time, Rex shrank to the ground, pressing his body flat against the floor, eyes wide with terror. His scars were invisible most days, but moments like these tore the veil away, reminding Michael that healing wasn't simple. Kneeling beside him, Michael whispered, "No one's going to hurt you here." Yet watching Rex tremble, he realized that reassurance wasn't always enough. Pain carved deep into memory doesn't leave easily. Michael knew that better than anyone. One night, as the wind rattled the windows and the building groaned, Michael found Rex curled under the table, shaking. Michael lowered himself slowly until they were eye level and placed a hand gently on the floor. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," he whispered, his voice breaking under the weight of his own unspoken pain. He couldn't save the people he had lost, but he could save Rex. From that night on, Michael carried an unspoken vow. No matter what storms came, he would stand between Rex and the world. Not everyone welcomed Rex. Neighbors eyed the German Shepherd, warily muttering about dangerous breeds. Some crossed the street when Michael walked him, but Michael refused to let their judgment undo the fragile trust they had built. Patiently, he retrained Rex's gentle commands, steady tone, rewards for calm behavior. He introduced him to children in the park, showing how the once fearful dog could lower his head and lick an outstretched hand. Slowly, suspicion gave way to acceptance. Walking beside Rex, Michael felt something return: pride. For once, he wasn't the broken man people pitied. He was someone rebuilding a life, step by step, with a loyal companion by his side. The snowstorm hit suddenly, swallowing the streets in white. Michael tugged Rex along the icy sidewalk, his boots slipping. A sharp crack echoed as he fell hard onto the ice, pain shooting through his body. Rex froze at first, then barked loud, frantic, desperate. His voice cut through the storm, drawing lights from nearby windows. Neighbors rushed out, guided by the sound. Michael, half dazed, saw them approach but kept his eyes on Rex, who stood over him, barking until help arrived. That night, wrapped in blankets, Michael whispered, "You saved me." And for the first time, Rex pressed close without fear, his loyalty undeniable. Days later, Michael sat on the couch, Rex's head resting on his knee. He looked into the dog's amber eyes and felt something he hadn't known in years: belonging. Rex wasn't just a rescue anymore. He was family, the one who gave Michael a reason to get out of bed, to cook meals, to keep moving forward. "You're more than a dog," Michael murmured, stroking his fur. "You're my second chance." Rex's quiet sigh was the only reply. But Michael understood. Some bonds don't need words. Life began to feel whole again. The walks, the meals, the quiet companionship, they stitched Michael back together, piece by piece. Yet beneath it all, something fragile stirred. Michael's health, once strong, now faltered quietly. A cough that lingered, fatigue he couldn't shake. He kept it hidden from Rex, forcing smiles and steady steps. But in the silence of the night, as the dog curled against his side, Michael wondered how long this fragile stability could last. Unaware of the storm still to come, Rex only rested, faithful as ever, guarding the man who had given him a home. The room was hushed, machines beeping steadily, but Michael lay motionless, his body frail against the white sheets. At his side, Rex pressed his body to the floor, head resting against the bed frame. Food bowls went untouched, water left warm, yet Rex refused to move. His instincts told him what no chart could. Danger loomed, and the man who had given him kindness was slipping away. Anchored to the bedside, Rex's silent vigil carried a desperation deeper than words. He would not leave him. Not now. Beyond the door, voices rose in hurried conflict. "He shouldn't be here. This is a sterile environment," one nurse argued. "But look at him," another whispered, glancing through the window. He hasn't left that spot. He knows. The doctors shifted uneasily. Some protested. Rules, others softened at the sight of a loyalty so unyielding. Finally, with reluctant nods, they agreed. The dog would stay. Not as a patient, but as something no medication could provide. Hope, the fragile peace, shattered when the door banged open. A man stormed in, his voice booming with ugly authority. "That's my dog. He's mine, and you've no right to. Keep him here." His eyes were sharp, his words dripping with menace. Nurses froze, uncertain whether to confront or retreat. The sound of that voice sliced through the air like an old wound reopening. Rex stiffened, ears pricked, his body trembling between fear and fury. Memories of chains, of shouting, of blows, crashed into him. The past had returned, uninvited and furious, threatening to drag him back into darkness. Rex rose slowly, each step deliberate, positioning himself between the man and the bed. His body was taut, trembling but resolute, as a growl rumbled deep from his chest. The sound was low, primal, a warning that could not be ignored. His eyes never wavered, fixed on the intruder who once owned his pain. For the first time, Rex did not cower. He stood guard, rigid with defiance, protecting the only family he had ever truly known. Fear lingered in his shaking frame, but love gave him courage enough to stand firm. The man sneered, stepping closer. "He's my property, and I'll have him back." "Sir, you need to leave," a nurse interjected, trembling herself. Others threatened to call security, voices overlapping in panic. The air grew thick, suffocating with fear. Rex barked sharply, each sound slicing the tension, but still the man advanced. Then, in the midst of chaos, a fragile sound broke through, a rustle of sheets, a faint groan. Michael's hand twitched, his eyelids fluttering. For the first time in days, he stirred. All eyes turned toward him, hope and disbelief mingling. The confrontation froze mid-breath, every second stretching endlessly, waiting to see if life had returned. Michael's hand rose weakly, trembling with the effort, before falling gently across the edge of the bed. Rex turned instantly, all growls fading as he pressed his muzzle into that frail touch. His body softened, trembling, easing into stillness as he leaned closer, guarding and comforting in one motion. In that quiet exchange, words became unnecessary. The bond between man and dog spoke louder than any argument in the room. Nurses stared, some wiping at their eyes. Even those who doubted now understood. This was not ownership. This was family. The spell broke with a sharp command. Security. 2 guards swept in, flanking the man, their presence firm and final. He resisted, shouting threats that echoed bitterly against sterile walls, but the fight was over. Dragged from the room, his rage left behind nothing but relief. For Rex, it meant something greater. He would never again be forced back into that life of fear and pain. The door closed. The past was gone. Michael's lips parted, voice weak and cracked, yet the words slipped free with unmistakable clarity. Rex. The dog's ears perked, eyes shining as he leaned closer. Around them, the staff froze, tears slipping freely. One whispered, "He knows. He's coming back." That single name carried weight no machine could measure, the weight of love pulling him back from the edge. Rex pressed his head firmly against Michael's arm, as if to say, "I'm here. I never left." The danger passed, but the moment had sealed something permanent. Their bond was no longer tentative, no longer fragile. It was forged in pain, defiance, and love stronger than fear. From that day on, no one doubted it. Michael and Rex belonged to one another, their loyalty unbreakable. Weeks passed, yet the memory of the hospital room lingered in every fragile breath Michael drew. His body, though weak, carried a determination he hadn't felt in years. Each morning began with hesitation, his legs trembling under the weight of uncertainty. But Rex was there, steady, unyielding, his paws pacing beside every tentative step. Where fear threatened to pull Michael backward, Rex's quiet companionship pushed him forward in the sterile halls of physical therapy. Frustration often swallowed Michael whole. Muscles refused commands. Pain stole his patience. "I can't do this," he muttered more than once, voice cracking under defeat. Yet Rex never wavered. Sitting at the edge of the room, amber eyes fixed on his friend, the dog's steady presence was a wordless promise. "You are not alone, keep trying." And somehow, Michael always did. It hadn't been that long ago when hospital staff frowned at Rex's presence, skeptical of his place in a medical ward. Now, their expressions carried only warmth. Nurses leaned down to scratch behind his ears. Doctors paused mid-shift to greet him. He wasn't just a patient's companion anymore. He was a symbol of hope. Proof that healing wasn't found only in medicine, but in love that refused to break. Recovery lit a new fire inside Michael, one that burned brighter than pain or fear. Inspired by the loyalty that saved him, he began spending his afternoons at the animal shelter. Walking through the rows of kennels, he recognized the same haunted eyes Rex once carried, the eyes of animals who thought they had been forgotten. With a gentle word, with kindness unhurried, Michael vowed to give them the same chance Rex gave him, a life worth living. Rex became more than Michael's shadow. He was the shelter's guardian of hope. Each time a new dog cowered in fear, Rex approached slowly, tail low, gaze soft, as if whispering, "I know, but you're safe now." The transformation was undeniable. Even the most withdrawn animals began to lift their heads, finding courage in Rex's quiet assurance. One golden afternoon, sunlight spilled across the park as Michael and Rex walked side by side. Michael's steps were steady now, his body stronger, his spirit free. Rex trotted proudly beside him, ears perked, coat shining. Two onlookers, they appeared inseparable, two souls reborn, no trace of the brokenness that once defined them. As the breeze brushed his face, Michael reflected on all that had passed. Rex hadn't just saved him from despair, he had given him something greater, the courage to live again. Their journey was more than survival. It was proof that love, when given freely, has the power to heal even the deepest wounds. And in that truth, Michael found the lesson of a lifetime. Rex's unwavering devotion became more than a story of survival. It was proof that loyalty has no limits. His presence showed that compassion could mend wounds too deep for medicine alone. Michael once believed he had saved Rex from abandonment, but in truth, Rex had rescued him. In that bond lay the beauty of redemption neither expected. Their journey revealed that broken trust is never the end. With courage, patience, and steady love, even shattered lives can be pieced back together. Together, man and dog reminded the world that every life has the power to change another's path forever, proof that even the smallest act of kindness creates ripples without end.